your opinion on NASCAR Today. What is it?
I think NASCAR Today is in the best place it's been in the last decade. But when I got in NASCAR, that's going to be tough to ever match that. That was like in the early 2000s. So
it was through the roof.
Yeah. But it went down for a while, right? Like, and it was not in a good place for a while. And I felt like a lot of the moves they were making were bad moves. And I was very upset about a lot of it because I just felt like, man, I've seen the sport be great. And I know it can be great again. And I don't know why they would try to do some of this stuff. I just don't get it. But I feel like the current leadership has done a way better job of trying to be smart about things, particularly with the schedule. Making sure that there's enough new elements to have something to talk about, but they're also, I think, realizing like, hey, we've got to keep some core things on our schedule. And sometimes it's a correcting mistake that goes back to that. Like, I think the Indy road course, for example, right? Like, I didn't like that. Yeah. I didn't like Bristol dirt. Now they're going back. They've reversed both those, right? So it's like, okay, they tried something, it didn't work. But at least they changed it up. They keep it different. They give us some. Chicago street race, I thought was a smash hit.
Yeah, it was.
I'm excited about Iowa. Hopefully they can go international, Montreal or something at some point. So I think their hearts are in the right places. I think that I have a lot more confidence in the current group than say 5-6 years ago even. So yeah, that's my opinion of that. I think.
Yeah. I like Jim France, Ben Kennedy, Steve Phelps. I like Jim the most just because I think he's old school. It just reminds me of the old Bill France days. Okay, so 2 more here. What is your opinion right now of the next gen car?
I just think, first of all, they ended up backing into this unbelievable occurrence that I'm not sure anybody could ever thought would happen, which is to make the intermediate tracks the best tracks in NASCAR. Like, who would have ever, even when you're saying, all right, we're going to do this next gen car. And here's the thing, we're having this next gen car. It's going to be particularly good on road courses. And because we're doing all these things and it's going to be sort of almost like a sports car. Nobody, not one sane person would have said at the time, hey, you know what? I bet this is going to make the 1.5 mile tracks the best they've ever been in NASCAR history and pretty much ruin the short tracks and the road courses, right? Like, how did this happen? I don't know how it happened, but it has saved these places like Kansas, Charlotte Oval, places like that. Now it's like, oh my gosh, you got to watch these places. It's going to be awesome.
And just when Fontana got really good, they tore it down.
Oh my gosh, that is so painful. Yeah. But I don't know how you're going to fix the short tracks at this point and the road courses. But the short tracks are really concerned to me because that was like the thing that you could always count on as like, this is legit, right? Like, so I almost wonder, like, if they go another year and the short track racing still not that great, like, would it be possible in some universe to develop just a car that races on the short tracks, a next gen for short tracks, and then keep your current next gen for the 1.5 miles and super speedways or whatever? Because
they should be able to, because the front and the back of the car literally bolt on.
Is it possible? Like,
yeah,
because I don't, what I'm worried about, Kenny, what happens 5 years from now if this is just how the short tracks are and the new fans and all stuff, they go, oh, they have never experienced how great short tracks used to be.
Yeah.
I don't want people to lose that, because that is the heart of NASCAR. That's the soul of NASCAR. So that worries me.
Yeah. Coming to the very end here now. So this year we saw the record penalties, fines. Of course, Hendrick was all the teams together, $400,000. And by the way, we've been doing this so long that the sun is changing.
I know.
It's getting on your face. It's okay. I love it. That's how. So this is the last one. So yeah, but let's be obvious. There it is. So what is your opinion on the fines and penalties and the way they go about tech inspection? So precise.
I'm torn.
Yeah.
I'm really torn. In some aspects, I like that they're keeping them honest because I want to believe that it's as straight up as possible. They're not letting people get away with stuff. They're not letting, because I want to know, like, hey, the best driver and the best team won. And they, I get that part of it. I also really like what they started doing this year is showing us what these teams are doing. Hey, we're going to call it, come on in the NASCAR hauler. You'll never believe what Ty Majeski's team was doing, stuff like that, right? And I get that turned out to be an old school trick with bleeding the tires and stuff. But for me, not being a true racer, I didn't know that. I'd never heard of that, I thought, wow, that is so interesting that you could have a bleeder valve like that.
Tell the fans what they do, Jeff. They put the cheater parts on display. Is this right?
Well, it's even beyond that because now they used to just, they put them on a table or something. And I was never technical enough back in those days to go by and say, oh yeah, that's what they did right there. Oh, I can see it. I don't know. But now they have the series director. They call the media and they say, all right, here's the real one, or here's a legit one. Here's this one. Look at the difference. And guess what? See this opening? Nope. See, this is going to allow more air in. They explain why it would help you, why they might do this kind of thing, what it was doing. And it's an education. You're like, wow. So first of all, you go, boy, the ingenuity of these people in the garage. It actually makes me appreciate the crew chiefs even more because you always think, all right, they're doing something. But what does doing something mean?
Yeah.
And you see it, you're like, wow, that is really smart. Too bad they got caught, but that's really smart. And then you go, well, good on NASCAR because I can't remember what the specific part was this year. But
the hood louvers was a big deal at the end
that
of
was huge. Yeah, that was huge.
Let more air out.
NASCAR, for one of the parts this year that was supposed to be a 3D printed part or whatever that, was single source supplier, NASCAR had hidden markings in it, a certain pattern, and they didn't tell anybody about it. And then when it was only visible to them, they only knew where it was, like these certain lines. And when they thought this one was illegal, they looked and they said, it doesn't have those lines. We knew it. It's not the same. So I do kind of like that. I just wonder if it does take some of the creativity and the fun out of the sport, because that's what racing was built on. So, are you going to lose that too much? Are all the cars going to be running the same speed? And then it's purely about track position, pit stops, clean air. I don't want to hear too much more about that. I want guys to be able to race. So that one's inconclusive for me a little bit because I don't know where it's all going.